Welcome back to another episode of Scott's Quick Cash Class. Every day I'm bringing you 5-minute episodes to help me and you with your different financial questions. Today we got a good one for you. We're talking about anxiety spending. And what does that mean, right? And how does that actually affect us? You know, all of us have different things that brings us anxiety. Me, when I get around snakes, I'm not really a big fan of. When I get on very tall things, like I'm afraid of ledges, not afraid of heights. I like roller coasters, flying in planes, do all that. You put me up on top of a 10-foot roof and go over to the edge and look down. Back of my legs get weak. I start sweating. I get a lot of anxiety. I just don't do well in those type of situations. So I stay off the roof because I'm 5'6" and I need to be close to the ground. Those type of things give me anxiety. Financial stuff used to give me anxiety back in the day, and sometimes how I would handle that is I would go out and buy something to internally prove to myself, one, I did want something, but then the other thing is like, oh, my finances are okay because I can afford this. And 99% of the time I was putting it on a credit card. So really could I afford it? Because it took me months to get that paid off. But temporarily, I felt a little bit better. I felt like I had a little bit more control. Had I taken that money and invested it, future Scott would be much better off. So we're going to talk about some of the behaviors around that and a few actionable items to maybe help you guys out. I know they've worked for me to get a little bit more emotional control over your spending and maybe a little bit more mental control over your spending. So I'm going to give you a few statistics here. 71% of Americans admit to emotional spending. And that was a CNBC survey. So 7 out of 10 of us admit that when we get concerned about money or when we're feeling emotional, and it could be from an outside factor, doesn't have to necessarily be from your finances. Maybe you're having, a fight with your girlfriend or boyfriend or a family member, or things aren't good at work, and you're like, I'm going to go spend money because that's going to make me feel better, right? Well, that is true. Temporarily it will, but long-term, probably not. So retail therapy leads to temporary dopamine spikes, but you're going to be more guilty later. You're going to be like, why did I buy those green shoes? I remember when I was younger, there was this pair of shoes. It was from this brand called Simple, and I thought they were the cat's meow at the time. And I had just started working, and $70-$80 for a pair of shoes was a lot of money. That was pretty much a day's wages for me at the time. And I remember I bought these shoes. They were uncomfortable. I tried them on, but I was like, they're okay. But I remember when I got them and I started walking, I'm like, they were uncomfortable. They didn't really look good. And I'm like, why did I spend money on those? Those are types of things that if I would have taken that $70-$80 and invested it, would be worth way more than those shoes that I probably wore a half a dozen times and don't know where they're at. Impulse purchases average $276 a month. Now, for some of you might go, that's not that big of a deal. That's not even a car payment, right? For others, $276 could be half of your rent, could be your electric bill. There's a lot of impulse purchases out there, and they are the marketing companies are very good at getting you to do that, whether it's online, whether it's, at your mall or, walking down the street, in a bigger city. There's a lot, lights flashing. There's always something saying, buy me, buy me, buy me, right? And from when I started this series, I've talked about, resetting your mind. And when I see all that stuff, my first answer is, no, thank you. But in my head, I'm thinking, that's $20 that I could invest. That's $40 I could pay off some debt. That's, another 20 that I could put, in my 401k. So when you start changing your mindset around those different purchases is when you're going to start to actually feel financially free, even if you don't have the dollars and cents in your bank account, because you're starting to develop the self-control and the discipline needed to get to that point. So let's talk about a few different actionable items you can do. I'll give you 3. Hopefully one of these will be beneficial. But 1, build a 24-hour pause rule on anything that's not essential, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's essential and what's not essential. I'm not your parent. You guys are all smart people. But ask yourself the question, do I really need this or do I not? And you'll be able to answer that. Use a dopamine reset list, right? So 10 free activities that make you feel good without spending. And I know it's really hard to think of in the moment, but if you have a list of 10 activities on your phone that you can pull up and go, I haven't done this, haven't done this one, let's go try that. There is a lot of free activities around a lot of different towns that you can definitely do instead of going and spending money, right? You're outside, get some energy, maybe get some exercise, all good things for you. And then the third thing is we all have these apps, and I'm not telling you to delete all of them, but if you delete 2 apps that you are very sure that you really don't need, because there is a lot of apps out there, but delete 2 apps that you don't need, and that's going to be less. That's going to give you less temptation to go out there and spend. So hopefully some of those things helped you. Hopefully you found some of those statistics interesting. Like I said before, I'm a statistic guy, and when I start seeing that starts firing things in my head to think of change and think of different ways of doing things. So once again, always I guess I got to do question of the day and tip of the day first. I was getting a little ahead of myself. Question of the day. When was the last time you spent money because of stress or boredom, right? Boredom will do that too. We're bored. We need to feel things. That's why a lot of addicts use. It's the #1 cause of relapse. They're bored. They haven't filled their life productively, and so they just go back to using. Same thing with spending money. If you're bored, spending money is very easy. So when was the last time you spent money because of stress or boredom? And then tip of the day, when you want to spend money, instead of buying something, pay your future self. Meaning, if you're going to spend $10 on something, take that $10, send it straight to an investment account, or buy an EFT, put it in your savings account, pay off some debt. Pay your future self. Your future self will thank you. Hopefully you guys learned something. I appreciate you guys watching. Any questions, leave a comment. Even if you you just want to comment on the video, leave it below. Every day I'm bringing you 5 to 7 minute videos to help with your financial future and mine. Never going to ask you to buy anything. Never going to ask you to sell anything. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to help. Till next time.